This is Nancy Vandermeer, and you're watching Lynxx 24, connecting you to the community.
Welcome to your hometown news. I'm April Frelke with my co-host Nick Kaufman. And it is Easter weekend, Nick.
It's coming up. But today is Maundy Thursday for all of the spiritual people, religious people out there. Maundy Thursday.
And what is Maundy Thursday?
Well,
Nick?
Maundy itself, the word comes from a Roman word, very old, meaning commandment. And on Holy Thursday night, or Maundy Thursday, is when Christ gave his two big commandments. You know, love thy God and love the neighbor as yourself. Okay. At the same time, he had the Passover meal. Okay, or the Last Supper.
Last Supper.
So a lot of good stuff on Maundy Thursday, going into Good Friday tomorrow.
What a great message, though, as we're all in COVID-19. Love thy
We're
neighbor.
all in the upper room, as they
Yes.
say. Yeah, absolutely, together. Yeah.
On this week's show, we'll be using Lynxx Network's fiber optic technology to Skype with Monroe County Sheriff Wes Revels and Monroe County District Attorney Kevin Croninger. This Connect 24 is brought to you by Oakdale Credit Union, Rudig Jensen in New Lisbon, and Molter's Fresh Market in Toma. Our first guest is the owner of Marco's Italian and American Grill in Warrens, Mr. Mark Chu. So welcome, Mark, to Lynxx 24. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Hi, Mark.
How are you, Nick?
I'm very well. And yourself? Hey, you're running a business. Tell the viewers here, do you guys close down, or what are you doing there?
No, we don't close down. We open 7 days a week, and we open lunch and dinner. And since we opened a year ago, last March, we haven't closed one day yet.
It's been a year already. Wow, last
You
March.
are an essential business.
Yeah, an essential business. So what, are people ordering in and then coming, and or you're delivering? What's going on?
Well, we have people call, and they pick up. And then we also have delivery, but with everything going on, people don't want to get out of the house. So they rather pick it up and instead of
That's great.
deliver.
So you're continuing to cook.
Yeah.
Okay. And I saw them deliver your big pizza oven a month and a half ago while I was on the road. Said I wish I was there. But reports are just great about the pizza.
The pizza is delicious.
Well, we've been blessed and lucky, and like I say, sometimes one door closed, our doors open. You know, we open up. We started pizza about a month ago.
Okay.
And it's a brick oven pizza, and we've been doing real well with that, and people so far have been very, very positive.
Plus the rest of your menu is still available, right?
Yep, the whole menu is available. Plus, obviously this weekend we have Friday we have fish fry, and then Saturday we have prime rib, and Easter we plan to open all day too.
No kidding. So just call up, order your Easter meal, go pick it up.
What are you serving for Easter, Mark?
Well, we serve the whole menu.
Oh, the whole menu on Easter Sunday.
And we also have ham too. If people want ham, they can.
Oh, okay.
See, with this thing going on, we don't know what they order, so it's tough to project. So the best to do just continue to do what we're doing.
I'll bet they don't have a lamb cake.
Oh, I make a three-dimensional lamb cake, Mark, every year. And this year, everyone in our family, everyone's eating so much food. They're like, "Don't make your lamb cake, April."
Yeah, that's right.
That's
right.
Anyways.
The Trojan horse.
No, that lamb cake that sounds great.
But on a serious note, what do you think about what's going on these days with this whole virus thing?
You know what? I'm very blessed. I've been lucky, all my life, and I believe in faith. Yeah, and I think that when the good man asks to join him, you're going to join him. Okay. So my life doesn't change. I believe in that, you do a normal day. And I wrestled through high school and college, and I have a great coach. And the most important thing he taught me is the, definition of worry. He said, worry is a state of mind before events even happen.
Right.
So why you want to worry about it? If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And you got to deal with it. Right. And they give you a card. You got to play with it. You can't fold.
Yeah, there you go.
And I think it's a good time for family bond. When I came to this country, every Friday, the family get together, we order food, and then we play games, and then we watch a movie.
Right.
We all bond. And I think now the family, they're working, the kids go play computer with sports and everything. Now you have to have get together now. You don't have a choice but be together.
Yeah.
And if everything is slowed down to
Yeah.
give us that opportunity.
Right. We've been running too fast, you know.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
granted, the business hasn't been the greatest in the world, but you know what? It's only money. We can make money as long as you have your health and your family.
You betcha. Are
Everything-
you happier now in Wisconsin during this than back in Baltimore? Because Maryland, you know, they got that East Coast stuff going on there.
You know, it doesn't matter where you're at. You know, I'm from. You have to deal with it. You know, I mean, like I'm from Vietnam. I talk to my family every day, and we're farmers, so we sell a lot of product to China.
Okay.
But since it happened in China, China shut down the product.
Oh,
So
for
now
crying out loud, right.
we couldn't ship it in. Now we have to sell to the market, which is a lot less. So, you know, we have to deal with this. It's not just the United States. You have to deal with this wide world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and
That's a good reminder that the farmers over in Vietnam have the same problem as the farmers here.
Yeah.
No one's bringing in their fresh vegetables at the restaurants. What do you do with that stuff? Yeah, that's interesting. Wow, the worldwide effects of this
It
are
is.
amazing.
Mark, thank you for joining us.
Well,
Good luck
thank
with
you.
your business during this time, and thank God we have the pizza oven.
Yeah, and
and just give us a call, and we, you know.
and Easter dinner.
Easter dinner.
Thanks,
Thank
Mark.
you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Up next, we have Monroe County District Attorney joining us to answer some legal questions and some that you sent in last week. Stay tuned.
Moulter's family-owned store brings you fresh. Feel healthy with a wide selection of organic foods, gluten-free products, certified Black Angus beef, and handmade brats. Moulter's has a great selection of meats, so choosing can be tough. Just ask our butcher to help you make the perfect selection. Moulter's brings you fresh-packed deli meals for those on the go. And of course, our fresh market. Download our mobile app and start saving money today. Moulter's brings you fresh.
You want it, we'll find it, you got it. Price match and relax. That's the Rudick Jensen deal, sealed with a platinum level membership. Oil changes, done. Tires, brakes, alignment, all done. Car wash, you got it. Rudick Jensen Auto Mall, New Lisbon. Check out our inventory online at rudickjensen.com.
The Oakdale Credit Union has spent decades serving Oakdale, Mauston, and Reedsburg. From comprehensive financial services to reliable mortgage loans, we strive to provide unparalleled care.
I like the warm and friendly atmosphere each and every time I come in. The staff is very knowledgeable and truly cares about its members.
Come and learn more about the Oakdale Credit Union, where we treat you like a member of the family.
Abra Auto Body and Glass, a division of Rudick Jensen in New Lisbon, can handle everything from major auto and truck body damage to windshield replacements, filling chips, dents, and door dings. Featuring a 46-foot custom paint booth for boats, RVs, trailers, you name it, if it fits, we can paint it. State-of-the-art facility, aluminum repair certified, all makes and models, foreign and domestic, all insurance companies welcome. Rest assured, repairs will be done right the first time, on time. Call Abra Auto Body and Glass in New Lisbon today.
Hello, I'm Colonel Eric Peterson, commander of the 115th Fighter Wing, and you're watching Lynxx 24, connecting you to the community.
Welcome back. The catering for Cast and Crew has been provided by Marco's Italian and American Grill in Warrens, where they offer their full menu, carry-out, and delivery, and their brick oven pizza. Well, we are back here in studio with Monroe County District Attorney Kevin Croninger. Kevin, welcome, and thank you for taking time this evening to join us on the Lynxx.
Good to see you, Kevin. Thanks for being here. You know, we got a lot of questions to ask. We had a lot of questions to ask you related to what, crime and whatever.
Legal things.
Legal things.
Yeah.
But my big question in the beginning is, what authority does the Governor Evers have for suspending a lot of our constitutional rights? Because it says in the First Amendment, we have the right of the people for peaceably to assemble and petition the government for redress, blah, blah, blah. Give us a little insight as to what his capabilities are.
Sure, and I've been fielding a lot of questions about this. I want to thank you guys for having me on so I can share some of my thoughts and insights on what's going on. Obviously, the first thing I would point out is, you know, our thoughts and prayers are with everybody in the communities around the country who is dealing with things related to COVID-19 and the negative effects from that. As it specifically relates to the governor's authority, In our country, we have the Constitution, which is the top law of the land and everything, and then there's laws that are below that, such as state statutes and other things. There are statutes in the state of Wisconsin that give the governor some pretty broad authority during declarations of emergency, and that is what's going on right now in the state of Wisconsin. The governor did issue a declaration of emergency on or about March 12th of this year. It does give him some pretty broad authority. That can be found in Wisconsin Statute 323.10. And so I've been getting the question a lot from people is, how does that statute interplay with the First Amendment to the Constitution? And I obviously, as an attorney, as a district attorney, and someone who strongly believes in America being the greatest country in the history of mankind, love and cherish our Constitution. The fact of the matter as it relates to our Constitution, what our courts have found is that the Constitution and the rights contained therein are not absolute. And so the First Amendment doesn't guarantee us absolute rights. So one example that's always used of that is, we have freedom of speech, but you can't go into a crowded theater and yell fire. If somebody was going to start a protest on the interstate, we would probably stop that because it's dangerous to the people on the interstate and the drivers in their vehicles. And so it's a very difficult time. I think in these types of times, oftentimes people in certain positions may push the issue a little bit on what is constitutional. And at this point in time, I think it's incumbent on all citizens to assert their constitutional rights, but also respect the rule of law that makes our country great.
Now, if you have some viewers or some people who really feel kind of been, that they're pressured too much by the state, what would you advise them? You wouldn't advise them to all call you up and talk about it, but what are some of the tools and things that they could use to find out answers to these questions?
Sure. And I'm always willing to talk to people. I'm elected by the people of Monroe County, and so I think I have a duty to speak with them, and I try to do the best I can with that. Obviously, I'm one person and have limited time, so I can't always talk to them all the time. But there are, I think, some different options. What I would remind people is that we live in a civilized society. We live in a society that is governed by a rule of law, and so there's often opportunities to take certain steps to address things that you may feel have wronged you. So there's opportunities through the courts. There's opportunities through local legislators, through talking or trying to get in contact with the governor's office and asking him or his associates to make changes. Those are things that are options. So I think if a person is looking to take legal action, I would always reference them to an attorney who specializes in that area. I'm a criminal attorney. I do criminal prosecution, and so my area of specialty is prosecuting people for crimes when they've been committed. Some of these other areas of law, there's some very good attorneys on that. The state bar website has some information on a lawyer referral type service where a person can have a conversation with a legal professional and get some direction on what their next steps might be. So I would encourage people to pursue those rule of law type outcomes and solutions to these difficult issues.
That's great, Kevin. Now, what if some retailer out there just blatantly disregards, what the governor has said? Will you, as a district attorney, will you take legal action against them?
Yeah, and that's a really good question, and a question I've been getting a lot since the Safer at Home order has taken place. And I've been in constant contact with the sheriff, the heads of the policing agencies in the county, and I think we're of a similar mind on these issues. Is we would prefer voluntary compliance. We know that this is extremely difficult for people who own small businesses to withstand the amount of time that they've been closed and may be closed. And so we understand that it gives them a terrible choice and almost an impossible choice. But we are asking that they voluntarily comply with the order at this point in time. And if we don't want to get to the point of charging. This happens a lot, I think, in many areas of the law where law enforcement officers, and you probably don't hear about it a lot on TV or other places, but law enforcement officers every day give people breaks on things and just encourage them to comply with the law the next time. And that's really what we're looking for at this time.
Thank you so much, Kevin, for joining us, and thank you for taking time out to interview with us and get that information out to our viewers.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Up next, we have Monroe County Sheriff Wes Revels joining us. See you in 2.
My name is Heidi Stalsberg. I'm the director of Toma Health, Hospice Touch, Life Choices Palliative Care. We have hospice home care. We have palliative care, which is a home care service. And then we have Serenity House, which is our 8-bed residential facility here in Toma.
Hospice Touch and Life Choices Palliative Care provides medical services, emotional support, and spiritual resources.
Toma Health, Hospice and Palliative Care, inspiring health, wellness, and balance.
The Oakdale Credit Union has spent decades serving Oakdale, Mauston, and Reedsburg. From comprehensive financial services to reliable mortgage loans, we strive to provide unparalleled care.
I like the warm and friendly atmosphere each and every time I come in. The staff is very knowledgeable and truly cares about its members.
Come and learn more about the Oakdale Credit Union, where we treat you like a member of the family.
This is gonna be good.
Dr. Doolittle.
You can talk to animals.
Yes. We just belong together.
Welcome aboard.
What kind of polar bear works on their tan?
Well, wait, are you even a bird? What bird stuff can you do?
Well, what bear stuff can you do? You win this round.
What's the worst that can happen? I'm too beautiful to die. Doolittle. Watch it now.
Relax at Marco's Italian and American Grill in Warrens, Wisconsin.
Hi, I'm Josh Tully from The Josh Tully Show. You're watching Lynxx 24, connecting you to the community.
Next guest is the Monroe County Sheriff. Please welcome to the program Wes Revels. Sheriff, thank you for joining us this evening.
Hi, Wes. Oh, yes, sorry. Thank you, Wes. It's good to have you here.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Not a problem. Let's see. I guess right off the bat is what kind of increase or decrease in certain type of calls have you been receiving during these last several weeks of this the shutdown here?
Well, I think in general terms, as a result of the change to some degree in that environment that we're working in, quite a few of those different categories of calls have decreased in the number of those. Yet we've had some increases in others, but yet we believe that those increases in other areas are also created by that environment that we are in and that isolation that we're necessarily forced into to get through this crisis.
Sheriff Revels, how has closing the businesses affected the law enforcement in the county?
That has not had a huge effect on us from the standpoint of the businesses being closed. It may lessen some of our calls for service, but we do not get an enormous calls, a number of calls from the businesses in the first place. But so not too much of an impact on us as a result of them being closed. But we know that the important part of the businesses, particularly the small businesses, is that when we get through this, that they are able to survive as a result of being down, because they are our part of our tax base and they are how our services are paid for. So we, as they are anxious to get through this and get them back open again.
Wes, has your office had to arrest or fine any business owners who really have violated the governor's orders?
I asked that very question. At 1 o'clock each day, the sheriff's office has a conference call with all of the local chiefs and EMS and other emergency management. So I asked that very question today, in that as of 1 o'clock today, there have been no criminal charges referred to the district attorney's office. There has been no citations issued, and there has been no actions at all taken against any of the business owners in Monroe County in relationship to those governor's orders. So what we set out to do educate and ask for voluntary compliance has worked. We have had some contacts with some local business people, but those contacts have been cordial, professional, and accommodating.
So that's really good news then, that people are really making sure that they're following those stay-at-home orders and the essential, non-essential business orders. Sheriff Revels, what advice would you give like citizens right now that have elected you in your county for getting through this time during the shutdown?
Well, I would say be patient. Abide by those conditions of the orders put out by the governor's office and public health and the Department of Human Health Services. Abide by those things, because I truly believe that we'll get through this, and the more attention we pay to those restrictions, those recommendations, we'll get through it sooner, and the sooner that we get through this, the sooner we'll be back to normal, or as normal as what we find it to be after we're through this crisis.
Wes, I had heard some information that in Juneau County there were a lot more reports of domestic situations that the police and the sheriff department had to handle. Would you agree that one way or another that's more or less changed, brought about by having to stay at home?
That in itself was what I was referring to about some of the calls for service increasing as a result of the isolation, okay, and not having necessarily those as many opportunities to get out and be separate. I think sometimes too much time together can be trying. That very conversation I had with one of my deputies here a few days ago, and certainly he had noticed himself on his particular shifts that those domestic calls had gone up.
And how about the department itself? You guys pretty much been healthy and been able to escape the onslaught of the virus? We have been very fortunate in that we've had a couple of incidents of concern, but they've turned out not to be related to the virus. Okay, but we've also went about in every area, every work group we have here. We have our work group, people split up into work groups. We do that as many other law enforcement agencies have done for the purposes of, if we get one person in a work group that comes down with a virus, we can self-quarantine that work group and still maintain operations at the sheriff's office. So did that amongst patrol. We did that in our corrections staff. We've made an enormous amount of changes as how we conduct business in corrections for the safety and welfare of the inmates, the employees. So this, from where we were at prior to March 17th, when the, I believe maybe it was March 12th, when the order was signed, we are in a different world, but we're doing what we can do to maintain our operations if, in fact, the virus does hit us. Great. Thanks. Thank you, Wes.
Sheriff, thank you so much for joining us and taking time to be with us this evening. We have to take a quick break, but Moments in History is next.
Thank you much.
Spotlight. And a drum roll, please.
Let's dance!
And now the icing on the cake.
Cats. Watch it now.
Moulter's family-owned store brings you fresh. Feel healthy with a wide selection of organic foods, gluten-free products, certified Black Angus beef, and handmade brats. Moulters has a great selection of meats, so choosing can be tough. Just ask our butcher to help you make the perfect selection. Moulters brings you fresh-packed deli meals for those on the go. And of course, our fresh market. Download our mobile app and start saving money today. Moulters brings you fresh. Abra Auto Body and Glass, a division of Rudig Jensen in New Lisbon, can handle everything from major auto and truck body damage to windshield replacements, filling chips, dents, and door dings. Featuring a 46-foot custom paint booth for boats, RVs, trailers, you name it, if it fits, we can paint it. State-of-the-art facility, aluminum repair certified, all makes and models, foreign and domestic, all insurance companies welcome. Rest assured, repairs will be done right the first time, on time. Call Abra Auto Body and Glass in New Lisbon today.
You want it? We'll find it. You got it. Price match and relax. That's the Rudig Jensen deal. Sealed with a platinum level membership. Oil changes, done. Tires, brakes, alignment, all done. Car wash, you got it. Rudig Jensen Auto Mall, New Lisbon. Check out our inventory online at rudigjensen.com.
You're watching Lynxx 24, connecting you to the community.
And now it's time, April, for Moments in History. Now, much of the interesting historical events for April 9th involved war, of all things. To start things off, early on, John Hancock, we all remember who he is, right? He could be said to have opened the Revolutionary War by offering the very first physical resistance to the British. He refused the custom agents to inspect his ship. As a result, the British confiscated his ship called the Liberty on charges of smuggling, though that charge was eventually dropped. Nevertheless, he became very popular in the colonies and served 2 years in the Continental Congress and was the first signatory of the Declaration of Independence. As we all know when we say, put your John Hancock on something. Now, the official close of the Civil War, move up ahead a little bit, came in 1865 when Robert E. Lee surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse. Lee went on to become president of Washington College in Lexington, Virginia, where he supported reconciliation of the North and South. He accepted the abolition of slavery, but he did oppose giving African Americans the right to vote. Ulysses S. Grant, of course, went on to become elected president twice. Let's move up to 1940. Nazi Germany invaded Denmark and Norway. Denmark surrendered after only 6 hours, becoming an occupied territory under local control. A couple years later, Germany placed Denmark under direct military control. Okay, then a little diversion here related to war. Stand-up comedian Bob Hope appeared on television in 1950 for the first time on NBC. You know, he was one of the first people to use cue cards and eventually became one of America's most popular USO performers. And he boosted the morale of servicemen worldwide through many wars. Continuing with the theme of April 9th in war, we have Winston Churchill, who served as British Prime Minister during World War II. He was the first ever person to be named an honorary U.S. citizen in 1963. Only 8 other people have received that honor, and the only other living recipient was Mother Teresa. Honorary citizenship takes an act of Congress or a presidential proclamation approved by Congress. Then let's move up to 2003. Baghdad fell to the U.S. forces, and it marked the end of the war in Iraq. However, as we all know, insurgency continued for years. The last American troop left Iraq in 2011. And then finally, a war of a different sort was the space race, part of the Cold War. And in 1959, NASA named the first class of 7 astronauts for Project Mercury. After 17 uncrewed flights, many with animals, so that it can't be called unmanned, Alan Shepard took his first flight aboard the Friendship 7 on his date in 1961. He was the only one of the Mercury astronauts to walk on the moon and hit 2 golf courses. There you go, April. That's the history for this day in April.
Lots of history, Nick. And nice job. You always do a nice job with it.
It's a lot of fun. It's fun.
All right.
No end to it.
We want to thank all of you for joining us this week on your Hometown News, where we're connecting
you
to the community.